This is one-on-one session with the ForumIAS founder and director Ayush Sinha. In this session, students are asked questions to test their preparedness for the personality test. One-on-one sessions are not mock panel sessions.
Join ForumIAS Academy, trusted by hundreds of toppers, including IAS Rank 1 Shruti Sharma.
May I come in, sir?
Please come.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon. Have a seat.
Thank you, sir.
Divya, when is the date of your interview?
24th of March.
24th of March. Are you comfortable?
Yes, sir.
Wonderful. So you chose to wear a sari for this important occasion.
Yes, sir.
Why did you choose to wear a sari?
So I'm actually coming from office, so I had worn a sari for office.
Okay, you're coming from office. Where are you working currently?
So I am under training in DANICS service. I was selected in 2020 exam.
2020 exam. Wonderful. So Divya, you are from Maharashtra.
Yes.
Sholapur is the name of the place.
So I was born in Solapur, but I come from Nashik.
You come from Nashik. Nashik is very famous for grapes. Now, what do they make from grapes?
So there are several things. One is raisins, other is table grapes for consumption, and wine. Other is the wine.
So recently we have seen that while vineyards and wine was not something that Indian companies forayed into, and we only heard of, Europeans and Americans. Now Indian companies are also coming into this sector. Can you name some major wine companies that exist there?
So the most famous one, and especially from Nashik, is Sula. Then there is Four Seasons, there is Renaissance, York, and indigenously brewed wines are Vinsura.
Divya, the fermentation process of these wines, what happens really that, they do not go, there is, of course, the multiplication of bacteria. This is what happens in the fermentation process.
Yes, sir.
All right, wonderful. Divya, in Maharashtra, there is the burden of farmer suicides.
Yes.
And Maharashtra is a relatively more prosperous state with a much better per capita income, say, let's Bihar. What is the reason that farmer suicides still happen in Maharashtra? And they're not happening in Bihar.
So it is true that Maharashtra is comparatively and relatively more developed and also industrialized. So, but the main reason for farmer suicide is lack of remunerative agriculture. And there are pockets of farmer suicide, not entire Maharashtra faces through the crisis. And these pockets are usually from Marathwada region, which is drought prone, and agriculture is losing its remunerative and commercial value. And other is the extravagant spending on social events is also seen in those areas, which leave farmers in desperate conditions.
Okay, in one line, if you have to say, when does a farmer commit suicide? What is the primary reason? In one line, what is the one single reason when a farmer would commit suicide?
So when you are forced to live hand-to-mouth situation comes up.
That would not be a reason why people commit suicide. I mean, all of eastern Uttar Pradesh, large parts of Indo-Gangetic Plain are much poorer. What is the reason behind farmer suicides?
So as far as I understand, I believe that it is the relation that farmers have with land, and when that land does not repay to the farmers, then I believe that the purpose is lost.
Keyword, repay. That's a good hint. Take it as a hint and tell me, when does a farmer commit suicide?
So I would have to repeat myself saying that it is agriculture and loss of revenue that leads to
So
farm
let's say if people lose their jobs, do they commit suicide? They do not. If they do not commit suicide, poverty is not why people would commit suicide. Suicide rates would be much lesser maybe in Africa, in sub-Saharan Africa. When does a farmer commit suicide? You know the answer, think for a while. Think when a farmer will be forced to commit suicide.
So taking the hint from the word repayment, I believe that a lot of investment goes into agriculture, and then the remuneration or repayment from the agricultural land is not sufficient enough for survival.
Whom does he have to repay?
So there are several agencies that give out agricultural loans.
Indebtedness.
Indebtedness, yes, sir.
Why you are not saying it then? Indebtedness will lead to farmer suicide. You make a loss in business, you don't go and commit suicide. You commit suicide when there are debtors and they come knocking at your door. Then you'll be forced to commit suicide. Right?
Thank you, sir. Yes.
Why you're not saying it? You know the answer. Okay. Now tell me, think and tell me, Poverty and indebtedness to some extent may happen in Bihar also. But there the news of farmer suicides are not coming. It has something to do with the kind of agriculture that is practiced.
Yes, so the unsuitability of some crops, and there is a mismatch between the weather and soil type and the demand of some goods in the market, because of which farmers are lured into taking up commercial farming or commercial crops, and that when it is damaged, then it becomes a problem which is not seen in Bihar and other parts of
People from Maharashtra often have a grievance that while they contribute the maximum to the tax kitty, they feel that the grants from the center as well as whatever funds are coming to them, they are much lesser in with respect to the proportion in which they are paying taxes. How do you justify that? Should we give as much to Maharashtra as it is giving to the center?
So I don't believe so. India, we should consider it as a one whole unit, and states do not have an independent identity apart from being the part of the union. And sir, so if Maharashtra contributes in the way of taxes and collection, and this is required in any other parts of India, then I believe that should be the purpose.
Divya, you have studied political science from Fergusson College.
Yes, sir.
Fergusson College is a very popular college and has some very historical roots. Can you tell me briefly about the history of Fergusson College?
Yes, sir. So interestingly, Fergusson College was set up as the same year of Indian National Congress, which is 1885. Sir James Fergusson was the governor of then Bombay Presidency, and he had contributed around 1200 rupees for the construction of the college. And so the prestige of
1200 rupees
yes, sir.
at that time.
Yes, sir.
Wonderful. Okay, and
so many great alumni come from my college. There are two prime ministers from one college itself, which is P.V. Narasimha Rao and V.P. Singh. And so there are other actors also who have studied in Fergusson College, like Radhika Apte and Sriram Lagu.
And you studied political science there with distinction you passed. Wonderful. Why is political science called a science?
So science, as we see today, refers to pure sciences. But science, when you see the word, it means a systematic study. So political science is called a science because it studies systematically the political systems in any country or area.
The G20 summit that is happening in our country right now failed to issue a joint communique. Has this summit failed?
So the summit has not failed in entirety, but I believe that consensus was not built on some issues.
Why was the consensus not built?
So because of global tensions that are going on currently.
What is happening in Sri Lanka?
So Sri Lanka is going through a massive economic crisis currently.
It was going through a massive economic crisis. Now the economic crisis turned into a political crisis. What happened? What went wrong? What was the economic crisis? And what steps of the government are responsible for it?
So there were several factors that contributed to the crisis of economics in Sri Lanka. One was that it had huge debts with respect to Chinese investments. Secondly, the immediate and sudden shift to organic farming from regular farming also reduced production.
Why did they shift to organic farming?
So that was the government's agenda before coming to power, and that is why they had taken this decision to.
No, that was based on an economic financial reason.
So I'm not aware of this.
Okay. So you say they shifted to organic farming and then subsequently go ahead.
And production massively decreased, and some of the export products like rice and tea had a major setback because of this. And currently there was also rise in fuel prices, and so there were massive food and inflation related crises in Sri Lanka.
Divya, what is our biggest challenge in dealing with Pakistan?
So the biggest challenge, one challenge does not come to my mind, but there are several challenges. If you may, I will just
go ahead.
So one will be the border disputes that have been going on continuously.
So those are our areas where there's a friction between the two of us. But if you are made an advisor to the Prime Minister and he asks you that go and speak to Pakistan, what challenge do you face when you are giving this problem statement?
So it will be difficult to put it in one word.
No, if you think of it, think for a moment and try to find the answer in what I've just said. What is the problem India is having in talking to Pakistan?
So maybe if I can guess, there are two sets of power in Pakistan and one is in control of the other, and that becomes difficult.
So basically, you say that, sir, we don't know who to talk to in Pakistan.
Yes, sir. Right.
Can
Thank
we
you.
say that?
Yes, sir.
Europe currently feels that India is fueling the Russia-Ukraine war. You know, what is your opinion on this?
So it is true that from one perspective, it might look that India is not taking strong stands in this crisis. So, but I feel that India is correct in its stand because Russia has been our all-time friend, and I believe that taking one side in such crisis will actually harm our diplomacy. And we have taken the initiatives for having more peaceful arguments and peaceful deliberations over this crisis, and that is how India should maintain its neutrality.
You are currently in DANICS, the administrative service.
Yes.
It is sometimes said that Delhi is the rape capital of the country. Why this tag has been given to the city?
So, firstly, I feel that no city should have a stereotype of being called a so-called rape capital. So, because of misdeeds of few, a state or union territory or city should not be judged. So, and other reasons for this having recurrent um, a lot of cases, like for example, NCRB had also said that there are 2,000 rape cases in the last 5 years. So some of the causes could be that the patriarchal notions in the society translate into sexual violence. Second is there are some blind spots in infrastructure related issues in Delhi. And third will be, sir, there is poverty and unemployment, because of which frustration builds up and it is meted out to through the form of sexual violence.
You're already in DANICS. Why you're not happy here? Why you want to go for IAS?
So I am happy here. So it is just that I wanted to pursue something, an ambition which is higher, and I wanted a job which has more requirements and test my skills in a better way so that I can serve more people and more area in that way.
Tell me 3 qualities of yours which you think will make you a good civil servant.
So one is team leader or leadership qualities. Second is I have the zeal to learn new things. I'm always inquisitive. And third is, so I believe that I can be a good coordinator.
All right, Divya, your interview is over.
Thank you, sir.